WorldCoin Price Prediction. Scanning your eyes for crypto. Brilliant or creepy? Did you know that a crypto coin scans your eyes to change the world? That's WorldCoin, the altcoin by Sam Altman at the head of OpenAI. Stay tuned, because I will reveal details that will surprise you. So what exactly is WorldCoin now? WorldCoin is a revolutionary altcoin. It was effectively developed and founded in 2019 by Sam Altman, the founder of OpenAI. With its scans, WorldCoin created a global identity, the so-called world. Secure and anonymous. The WLD, which is the token of WorldCoin, enables governance and usage. Discover. Now, why WorldCoin is changing the world? The market capitalization. In effect, WorldCoin is already a high-cap altcoin. How much potential WorldCoin has, I will get to that later. But first, I have some data for you that is mega interesting. In the area of solid sales. Then, what does such a circulating supply actually look like? Only 12% of the tokens are already in circulation. That is significantly below my 30%. What this means is that in effect, quite a few tokens can still enter the market, which naturally depresses the price in the long run. You need to be careful with that. In this area, therefore, only a 4. Then how strong is the roadmap of WorldCoin? The roadmap is very ambitious. They have clear goals here, aiming to achieve a certain level of adoption by a specific point. However, they have not yet achieved some of these. This is naturally also related to the overall market situation. Ultimately, WorldCoin had a massive hype, which has now leveled off. In this area, therefore, a solid 7. How strong is the team of WorldCoin? As already mentioned, it was ultimately founded by Sam Altman, who is essentially the CEO of OpenAI. However, he left the team in 2021. Nevertheless, the remaining team still has strong expertise in the AI and tech sectors. However, a few members are still anonymous, which is naturally suboptimal. Nevertheless, in terms of the team's expertise, they are extremely well positioned. Oh, which narratives does it ultimately serve? Now, WorldCoin, on one hand, of course, artificial intelligence, but also identification and especially its verification. For example, against deepfakes. This becomes increasingly important in times of artificial intelligence, where you can essentially fake anything, videos, images. And they are, of course, also going with the trend of swap 3. Therefore, strong. What problem are they actually solving? Ultimately, as already mentioned, they solve the problem of verifying people in the virtual web. In other words, how can you actually verify that the person is really who they claim to be, and can you also assign them? This is of course relevant in Web3 for finance, for example, but also for authorities if one can eventually vote online. The problem with the whole thing is, of course, it is partly done through iris, that is, eye scans. This is of course a privacy issue again. Since more and more attention is being paid to privacy and data protection is becoming increasingly important, this could naturally reduce adoption. In that area, however, they are still solid. Then, what about sustainability? They use proof of stake and layer 2 solutions, which makes them very energy efficient. In this area, therefore, a strong A. Then what about investors and capital? They have high-profile investors, meaning extremely strong financial backers behind them. They also have a massive valuation and strong capital. All in all, strong new players. Then what is the actual competition for WorldCoin? They have Civic here, but also Selfkey and Microsoft's Ion. They are still solidly positioned here, hence then marketing. How strong is their positioning? Initially, they had extremely aggressive marketing. You probably noticed it, where there was really a lot of advertising. Everyone was talking about it. It was even in the media. But especially negative press regarding privacy has naturally been a disadvantage. And that has also damaged the image in some regions sustainably. In this area, therefore, only a solid 7. Stop. If you appreciate such an in-depth analysis, then feel free to give a like. That supports my channel. And I have discovered 2 altcoins for next weekend that are mega exciting. You definitely don't want to miss them. So subscribe to my channel now. Don't forget to activate the bell to not miss any more insights. How simple is the idea of WorldCoin actually? The concept is simple. The identity must first be verified to ultimately gain access at all. And as a result, you ultimately have. However, the technical side can of course be complex, especially because the technical component is extremely complex. In Area 6, then what is the long-term vision of WorldCoin? They naturally want to be one of the leading providers here. ultimately for artificial intelligence and the verification of humans. In for example, Web3. We still have hurdles here, such as the ethical perspective and privacy. Nevertheless, they have a clear vision, then they are deflationary. They have a maximum supply. They have a maximum supply here, but no deflationary mechanisms, only 6 in this area. Then, what about the fully diluted market capitalization? How are they valued? It is still quite high compared to the market capitalization. Nevertheless, they are well valued here. Then, what does the liquidity look like? The indicators show very strong liquidity. How was the token distribution at the beginning? It was relatively fair at the beginning. As mentioned, quite a lot of tokens were distributed to the community. In the end, tokens were received for eye scans. But insiders probably have about 42%. That in turn is suboptimal. In that area, therefore, only a solid 7. What about the top coin holders? Are they high? Are they low? As just mentioned, about 42% are with insiders, which of course is suboptimal. It's quite a high number. Therefore, in that area, only a 5. What is the utility of the WorldCoin token? The utility naturally grows with adoption. For example, for payments, but also for voting rights. Nevertheless, they are still in their early stages. But, of course, the utility grows with the number, especially in the Web3 sector. At the current stage, however, only a 6. Then, how strong is the community? They really have over 1 million followers on X, which is gigantic. They also have Telegram groups and an ever-growing Discord community. Engagement is also naturally increasing, especially through airdrops. In this area, they are strongly positioned. Oh, then what events, what updates are coming this year? Here, probably new orb rollouts and various new partnerships. There will also likely be regulatory updates. In America, it will probably be easier than in Europe. For WorldCoin, however, they haven't shared much information about this yet, which is suboptimal. That's why only a neutral 5. And then we come to the result. With 67.3%, they are in a solid range here. WorldCoin is far more than just another altcoin. It is a vision for the future with a digital identity. They have above all a strong team and of course a strong vision. However, there are still concerns about data protection and regulation. You should not ignore these concerns. If you are interested in WorldCoin, I will link below a crypto exchange where you can buy WorldCoin. And then we come to various price scenarios. It is important that, first of all, an adaptation must take place and the entire crypto market must grow again. When the entire crypto market can grow again, I have explained in another video. I will link the video for you up here. There, I explain when altcoins could massively gain in value again and what needs to happen for that. WorldCoin could definitely gain in value between $4 and a maximum of $30, which would be a massive increase. Now that you know the potential of WorldCoin, I will link you to another altcoin above that also has massive potential. However, it is especially important in payment transactions. How XRP can reach $1,000 US, all of that in this video. Have fun and see you soon.